Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news about last night's first Democratic debate, Water District news, news from Ridgecrest Code Enforcement, events coming this week, today's gas prices, and much more.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyokern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Whitnick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Well, the long-awaited first Democratic presidential candidate debate was finally held Tuesday evening. A lot of buzz by the pundits were whether the questions would be softened up compared to the questioning at the Republican debate. Well, the debate rules were the same as the Republican debate. But the first concern is that Clinton and Sanders got the most amount of time. The other three had to fight to get any time at all. My assessment of the debate is that it really was a liberal party. See, most of the night they fought on who was the most liberal. It's interesting because the Republicans seemed to fight on who's the most conservative. With the exception of Webb, most positions of all candidates were very liberal. Webb kind of mixed it up with some liberal positions and some moderate positions. I believe he was clearly the best of the three underdogs. Now the questions posed by the moderators. I have to admit, many of the questions were pretty good and were asked in a way to try and get more information from the candidates. But many times, the candidates didn't answer the questions they were asked, even when the questioner repeated the question to try and get an answer. The most skilled at deferring the questions to another topic was Clinton and Sanders. The two most striking questions everyone in the audience saw was when Clinton was asked about her email controversy. She continued her scripted denials of doing anything wrong, and the whole controversy wouldn't even be an issue except for the Republican Congressional Committee looking into the issue. And when Sanders, in a very loud voice, declared that the email controversy must stop and go away, the audience loved it, clearly indicating the large portion of the voters on the Democratic side don't care about honesty, credibility, and transparency when it's about their candidate. The next rouse from the audience was when 4 of the 5 declared all-out war on the National Rifle Association. The only one that did not join in that attack was Webb. The audience support for an all-out war on the NRA was amazing. And the difference of questions and emphasis between the Republican debate and this Democratic debate was striking as well. The questions and answers also focused around other topics the Republicans discussed. The Democrats focused a lot on attacking Wall Street, banks, the NRA. They wanted to raise taxes on the wealthy, expand the social safety network, regulate guns, and reduce mass incarceration. They all wanted to fight climate change, expand access to higher education, supporting global warming, pay equality, personal leave for women, getting out of any wars, raising the minimum wage, and of course, Black Lives Matter. There was an interesting question from a viewer. He asked, do Black Lives Matter or do all lives matter? All but one didn't have the guts to say all lives matter. They stuck with the mantra that only Black Lives Matter. Only Webb answered that all lives matter. Another shocking question was when they were asked as to what they saw as the biggest threat to America. 3 of them actually said global warming. They were not concerned about ISIS at all. Only Webb answered the concern of the Middle East situation. Chafee was the only candidate to really go against Clinton on her credibility problem. But there was also a pretty common theme among tough-to-answer questions. Everyone still blames Bush for today's problems. They are still unable to acknowledge that Obama has been in for 7 years now, and 2 of those years he also controlled Congress. The Democrats could have done anything they wanted back then. The most missed questions, there were no questions about illegal immigration, sanctuary cities, case law, the Iran nuclear deal, Putin, and ISIS. I, for one, would have liked to hear their positions on those important topics. In conclusion, they were more decent to each other than some of the Republicans. They did attack Republicans more than Republicans attacked the Democrats in their debate. We learned that they are clearly fighting on who is the most progressive, otherwise known as liberal. This morning's liberal leading news media are declaring their favorite Clinton won the debate and call Sanders entertaining, that Webb is useless, and McAfee and O'Malley did poorly. And if there are any current problems that reflect poorly on Obama, then the blame is put on George W. Bush. And don't forget, The NRA is more of a threat to Americans than ISIS, Iran, or Putin. So now we have to wait for the next Republican debate coming in about 2 weeks. It would be nice to have the Republican field get smaller so we had more time to hear from the main contenders. In news from the Ridgecrest Police Department Code Enforcement Department, we get this story. On December 9, 2006, the structures at 123 South Sunset Street were destroyed by fire. The owner passed away a few months prior to the fire, and the property was left unclaimed. Since that time, there have been numerous complaints regarding the blight and dangerous conditions the burned-out buildings were having in the surrounding area. On August 25th, the issue was brought before the Planning Commission, who authorized abatement of the property, which included the complete removal of all structures and foundations, as well as removal of all junk, trash, and debris. On October 9th, the abatement was completed using Ridgecrest tax allocation bond funds. You can see the property is completely clear of all buildings and debris. For further information regarding this abatement or any other code violations anyone would like to report, please contact Code Enforcement Officer Fred Booth at 760-499-5118. In news from the Indian Wells Valley Water District, there has been much discussion of the Water District installing a new water use monitoring system. The new meters will transmit real-time data on water use for each water meter. The computer system will be able to indicate to any system operator water consumption. Some concerns were expressed that this use is private, and citizens should be allowed to opt out of the new metering system. However, the Executive Board determined that they already monitor each person's use now. The only difference is the real-time monitoring capability. This will allow the district to see when there may be water breaks, when there may be a quick surge in use. This could allow them to respond to breaks quicker, and the system will not be used as an investigative tool to determine how the people use water, only to monitor how much water is used. The real-time system is being required by the State Water Control Board, and one of the steps that the district must take to reduce water use by their customers. So the Water Board did not approve the opt-out option. So they will proceed with the installation of this new monitoring system. Thanks for staying with us. In event news, remember, this coming weekend will be the Historical Society of Upper Mojave Desert will celebrate the 70th anniversary of the historic USO building here in Ridgecrest. Now join us for an interview by Al Huey and Robert Ironman with Peggy Breeden and Tex Hopus from the USO building.
We got some exciting events coming our way this next couple of months. We were just talking about it off camera. And the first big event this month, going to happen next weekend. It starts, I believe. Well, it actually starts before the weekend, is the 70th anniversary of the old USO building on Ridgecrest Boulevard, right?
Yes.
And we got some events scheduled during that time. You say it's October the 15th through the 18th, right?
Yes.
Can you explain to us a little bit what's planned?
Very quickly, well, we are celebrating the 70th anniversary of the USO Club opening in October 1945, and the building has served first as a USO Club, and then it became a county building for a few decades, and then it was a city building for a few decades. The last 10 years or so, the Historical Society of the Upper Mojave Desert has had the building. And so we're 70 years old. We have the first event on Thursday, the 15th, and that is a semi-formal dinner. The Five Dusters will be on stage providing background music reminiscent of the period when the building was opened as a USO Club. $50 a ticket. The tickets are at our gift shop. Multi-course dinner being catered by Toscana. Then on the 16th, the morning of the 16th, starting at 10 o'clock, we will have a formal ceremony with all kinds of dignitaries, including the Honorable Peggy Breeden, Mayor of Ridgecrest, Navy leaders, Mick Gleason from the county. We have a national USO representative, the executive director of the USO club or district down in our district, etc. That ceremony will start at 10. It will have a reception afterwards in our newly opening Veterans Memorial Building. Liz Babcock, a renowned author and historian from this area, has just finished a book, and it will be on sale, and she'll be there to sign books. The historic USO, 70 years in the heart of Ridgecrest. It's a history of not only the building, but of the people and the community surrounding the building for the last 70 years.
This is going to take place inside the building?
Inside the building.
Okay.
Inside the historic USO building. That evening is the Navy Ball. On Saturday, their National USO organization has come together and worked with the city of Ridgecrest. They are hosting a USO show, if you will, in Freedom Park. Warner Street will be closed off. Families will gather. The show will start about 2 p.m. and go until that evening.
And the sprinklers go off at 2:15?
Yes, sir.
Yes. And on Sunday afternoon, about 2 p.m. at the historic USO building, we will start showing segments from the historic TV show Victory at Sea, telling the history of the Navy and what they did during World War II.
I want to thank Peggy Breeden and Tex Opus for joining us for information on the USO event. And don't forget about this workshop being put on by the City of Ridgecrest tomorrow in response to citizens' concerns that it's sometimes hard to find out how to go through the building permit process. They have announced that they will be holding a building permit workshop tomorrow with the Kern County Building Inspector for contractors and members of the public who are interested in attending. If you are planning any modifications for your homes or buildings, this would be a good place for you to come in and learn about the process. Oftentimes, people do work around their homes that require permits, and they just don't know that a permit is required. This results in unapproved modifications to homes that can result in damage to homes or changes that have to be corrected when a home is sold. For example, two areas that require permits all the time that people often don't pull permits for are anytime you move or change the routing of any utility line, whether it's electric, water, or gas, this requires a city building permit. If you are resurfacing your roof, you must get a permit before you do so. And another myth is that the county and city have different building standards, that people that live in the county can get away with building things out there without permits that city people have to get a permit for. This is false. All building done in the county and the city are the same, except for a couple minor differences. I do know that the county is even more stringent than the city when it comes to installing those large sea containers. The county has more requirements on those than the city has. Both entities use the uniform building codes for construction. The city and county work together in building, permitting, and inspections. This meeting is open to everyone, inside and outside the Ridgecrest city limits. The meeting will be held tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. and be in the City Council chambers at City Hall. So whether you are a city resident or a county resident, this informational meeting is for you. For more information on this, call or email City Engineer Lauren Culp. He can be reached at 760-499-5083. Now news about an event coming next Friday from KZGN-TV field reporter Tanya Pyle. Ridgecrest will hold its very first baby, child, and maternity consignment resale event known as the Bunny Tail Resale. The event is next Friday, October 23rd, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., and on Saturday, October 24th, from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday, with 50% off on opportunities. Bring your gently used infant, child, or maternity items to 216 West Ridgecrest Boulevard before October 17th to consign and resell items for up to 71% off sale prices. The Bunny Tail pre-sale opportunity begins the night before on Thursday, October 22nd, when volunteers shop at 5:30 p.m. A $7 pre-sale voucher gets you in at 6:30 on the 22nd to beat the public sale. Items are cleaned, sized, and ready to wear before barcoded with the consignor's number, price, and whether the item will be discounted. Items not sold are coded for either return to the owner or donation to the Women's Center. For added attractions, car seat specialist Candy Smith will assist to assure your car seat meets installation regulations. Car seats will not be sold, though. Abundant Harvest Organics host Rebecca Rosenberg for Ridgecrest and Kern Valley said, the event reuse, recycle, and repurpose philosophy aligns with Abundant Harvest Organics, who proudly sponsor the event and invite your participation. Mom's Club of Ridgecrest will provide a nursing station, and vendors Hannah's Bread of Life, Botany's Desire, and Just Imagine will be there. The Leech League will also be providing information. Tristan Merriman and Jessica Hall created the event to benefit young Ridgecrest families, military and otherwise. They hope to raise community awareness of the Women's Center, High Desert, and the services the center provides. Hall expressed special gratitude to TNT Western Homes for securing the former Sierra Furniture Gallery location. First-time moms, grandmothers, and active-duty military families are encouraged to register at www.bunnytailresale.com for early shopping. Follow Bunnytail Resale on Facebook. Now on KZGN's continuous effort to provide news and information you've asked for, here are today's gas prices for Ridgecrest and some surrounding areas. Well, since my report last week, gas prices were steady throughout the area we monitor. The lowest price here is unchanged at $2.93 per gallon. As of this morning, Ridgecrest is ranging from $2.93 to $3.39. Lancaster from $2.75 to $3.19. The LA Valley area is going from $2.73 to $2.99, and Bishop going $3.45 to $3.61. We have 4 stations coming in at the $2.93 figure. Tune in Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for updates. We at KZGN always suggest you shop locally to support our local economy. Remember, when you pay sales tax out of town, you are helping those cities pave their streets instead of here. Now stay with us for weather and sports after the break. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. High pressure across the majority of the continental U.S. is keeping conditions dry and warm, even as rivers continue to recede in southern Carolina. Moderate to major flooding is likely to persist through the end of the week at some locations. For our forecast here in the IWV, tonight, 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 67, west-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. On Thursday, a 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a high near 86, south-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. On Thursday night, 50% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 66, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. On Friday, a 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly sunny with a high near 84, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Friday night, 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 64, west-northwest wind 5 miles per hour. On Saturday, mostly sunny, slight chance of showers with a high near 83, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. Saturday night, 30% chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a low around 62, west wind 5 miles per hour. On Sunday, a 30% chance of showers, partly sunny with a high near 78, west wind 5 miles per hour. Sunday night, 20% chance of showers, mostly cloudy with a low around 60, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And on Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 81, northwest wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your forecast for the IWV. Now back to Tom and the rest of the KZGN News.
Thanks, Keith. Now Tom Heck with sports.
And a very pleasant Wednesday afternoon to everyone. Let's start with a local sports note. Burroughs High School football. They will be at Hesperia on Friday night. The Burroughs have won 2 straight games. None more important than last week. It was their first league game, and they had an easy win against Sultana. This weekend won't be so easy, but Burroughs, in my opinion, still favored to beat Hesperia by several touchdowns. They have a very good quarterback, and Michael Gleason do the Scorpions of Hesperia, but Burroughs right now playing very well on both sides of the football. The Burroughs line play also was extremely well last Friday night. So again, that's Burroughs and Hesperia Friday night over at Hesperia High School. If you can't get to the game, you can tune in live at 7 o'clock on 1240 AM KLOA. And don't forget, you can catch Todd Mather on Thursday night. That's tomorrow night on 1240 AM also. He'll have a rundown of what's going to be the game plan for Friday night. He'll also talk about the easy win against Sultana last week. The JVs also won last week along with the freshmen. All right, let's switch our notes to Saracoso volleyball. Today the Coyotes will travel to Rio Hondo College. They'll be on the road again Friday. They will take on Victor Valley before coming home next Wednesday for another league home game. They will take on Chaffee next Wednesday here at home. Okay, the baseball, if you can imagine, the Chicago Cubs. If somebody would have come to you back in March and said, you know what, the Cubs, they're going to be in the National League Championship Series, you would have looked at them like they were nuts. But guess what? The Cubs right now are in the NLCS Championship. They're awaiting the winner of the Dodgers and the Mets, who will play on Thursday night. Now, the Cubs had a 6-4 win over St. Louis in Chicago. The Cubs won both games in Chicago. They win that best-of-5 series in 4 games against the Cardinals. Cardinals were just injury-riddled this season. You got a feel for them. Their pitching was really stymied because of the fact they couldn't depend on rotations, different guys getting hurt. A tough year for the Cardinals. They've still won 100 games, though, and give credit to Mike Matheny, their manager, for that. Okay, the Dodgers, they win. They had to win last night in New York. They did, 3-1. Clayton Kershaw stepped up big time. 7 innings, he gets the win, none bigger than last night, and that'll set up Zach Greinke on Thursday night at Dodger Stadium against the Mets, a winner-take-all. The winner gets the Chicago Cubs. Either team should be a great series against the Cubbies. Okay, today, Kansas City and Houston, Texas and Toronto, Game 5 each in the American League. Should be very interesting. Kansas City split their first 2 games at home with the Astros, and then Texas won the first 2 games at Toronto, only to have Toronto come back and win both games in Arlington. Game 5 is tonight in Toronto. Okay, this week, a tough week in college football. We all know about the USC saga. Well, Steve Spurrier resigned the other day at South Carolina. He was 2-4 on the year, 0-4 though in conference. They beat Central Florida on Saturday, but Spurrier still decided to call it a season. Now Spurrier was the president of South Carolina tried to talk him into finishing the year out, but he just thought this was a good time to get out. A class act is Steve Spurrier, 70 years old, but he said something very intriguing. He says, I'm not retiring, I'm just resigning. So, he's looking forward to the game Saturday. He's going to be there at Columbia. It's not like he's disappearing. He's very supportive of everybody at that campus, but he is a legend, and you hate to see him kind of go out on that, if that indeed was his last game. I have a feeling we may see him again, even though he's 70 years old. Okay, Lamar Odom, on a sad note, fighting for his life today. He was found unconscious at a rural Nevada resort the other day. He's in Las Vegas right now in what they consider critical condition. No more reports as of yet. Top 5 college football, Ohio State, Baylor, TCU, Utah, Clemson, all undefeated. Then LSU, Michigan State, and Florida. A lot of good teams this year. Awful lot of parity in the NCAA. That's your sports for this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. Office at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for your news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only locally owned community TV station. Now stay tuned for Ridgecrest Talk, but stay with us for a clip of a Great Dane jumping on a trampoline.
Huh?